Not good at all. Okay, we're late. For once, that's actually not my fault. I was on time. Relatively on time, actually. Also, hi, welcome, and all of the good things. Now I need to set things up differently because the game has decided to be a bit of a bitch. Really a bit of a bitch, actually. Worked surprisingly unwell. Put it mildly. Okay. Annoying. Like, yes, make it even more problematic so that I will absolutely not feel any need to engage you. Give me a second while I type furiously. Because that's what I do best. You go here, you go here, you go here. Now you please load. Good, you have loaded. That is pleasing me somewhat greatly. You go here, and we have this, we shall use it. Okay, that should be almost everything. Actually go into the game and see if this is working. I should be working now. It's like the third or so try I have. So I will give it a second to see if it actually does work. It seems to be working. Okay. Oh yeah, right, I opened some nonsense out of my inventory. And I was like, yes, very interesting. I also think I found some shiny dangles in there. Dangles? Dangles. Yes, I know what I'm talking about. Seems pretty overpowered right now, especially comparatively speaking to this one, you know, but it's just so shiny. Can't set my stuff in there though. And I can equip some nonsense. Don't ask me why, but I have it, and I will make use of it. A little bit of auto life status. More strength. Sounds pretty useful to have. Can I set materia in there? Carbuncle. Oh, I do remember Carbuncle. That looks horribly interesting. A little cactua. Deals 6 damage, ultimate attack, 10,000 needles. Well, yeah, it's a little cactua. You know what? I shall put that in there just because I can. Now then, okay. So, not to putting you too fine point on it, but it's actually working again. What do you say?
Warning. Gate broken. Fiends in area. Exercise caution. No reason to check it out. Not my problem.
A fucking mercenary.
You don't want to mess with the monsters in here.
Sounds like work worth doing, doesn't it? Oh look, motion repeat.
Excuse me. Due to an emergency, entry into this area is prohibited. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Sure, no problem.
Warning? No, sir.
But it was a pretty nice warning, actually. A rather polite one, even. Oh well, we're back with this one. Mostly because I actually had some time to, you know, collect my thoughts a bit and play around. You would have seen in my little head. I also had some time to think about the past. Oh yeah, people can't dance. I mean, I'm not much of a dancer, but even I look more motivated than those people. Well, where to even start, actually? That's a very good question, I'd say. One I find myself somewhat incapable of answering.
Are they gonna turn the reactor off?
You're gonna die.
I'll make a grease monkey out of you yet.
Interestingly enough, the Seventh Heaven is actually one of the largest fucking buildings here. Okay, so I'm not really encouraged to go anywhere else, apparently. Well, yeah. The game's like, no. Oh, look, it's a little Tifa. That's something I look forward to, actually.
If Midgard loses power, aren't computers and traffic lights and all that going to shut down?
Yeah, you're gonna die, horribly. Hello, Tifa. Long time no see. You look different. Very different. Very, 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 very different.
Daddy, you're home!
That's right, Angel, I am. Have you been a good girl?
Yeah, I've been helping Tifa.
Oh,
You would assume that children's business is not the sort of environment where you would want to raise a
You
child.
made it. Where'd you get that? I can't remember the last time I saw a real one.
Yeah, just, you know.
Huh?
Got it, you know, through my connections.
How sweet.
Underworld
When
connections.
did you get so thoughtful?
Well, according to my inventory, not.
Has been 5 years.
Huh?
I need to talk to Barrett.
Right. Come on in.
Daddy, the Mako place blew up. Everyone on TV's talking about
Yes,
it.
child,
Don't you
yes,
worry
child.
about all that silliness. Daddy's here and he's not going anywhere tonight. Now turn that thing off and let's
Something
get
is
you
happening.
going, huh?
What is happening? What do we have there? Hey, Chrono Stampede. He's hosting you. Oh, hello there. Haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Ah, not bad, not bad. I'm somewhat trying to figure this particular riddle out. I don't even know if I like it yet. But I decided to play it again, just so I can make sure. So, you know, keeping busy. As usual. How about you? You doing good? Feeling good, doing okay, all of the good things. Ah. Lurking. That's something I tend to do too. I can't completely understand. It's actually something of a habit when I do I'm in a store and I assume that not much is gonna happen because, you know, weather shit and stuff. I do kind of have some in the background. Yeah, the usual. Life tends to give, well, either in spades or nothing at all. And when it comes in spades, it's usually good and bad in a nice little mixture. Ah, life. Such a pain in the ass sometimes, isn't it? Then again, without that we would kind of be out of options, wouldn't we? Ah. Now do excuse me when I make a few things with my little pipe here, because it has some things there. Need to put it in a way where I can let it sit down and not knock it over, because that would be one hell of a cleanup. I'm not interested in it. As usual, my desk is a nice little chaotic mess where everything has its place, technically speaking, but I'm too lazy to put it into its place beforehand. Now. Okay, so now I can actually reach my controller somewhat comfortably without knocking into things, left, right, and center. What can I do in here? Darts. Well, I have enough mini-games in the Yakuza game, so I don't think I'm going to indulge very much. Do I want to deck with him or with the child? Tifa. Haven't seen you since, I don't know, the early 2000s or something. No changed. My god, I think this is fake. Record with 9 employees, I said 4 positive tests for... Jesus Christ. Yeah, that sounds like a really mixed bag, honestly. Jesus. I mean, nobody wants to get the fucking goof now, is it? Still, you know, I don't really think it's that much fake. Mostly because, your average politician who would potentially benefit from such a lie is just too incompetent to spread it efficiently with his peers. I just don't believe our politicians to be that capable. I mean, maybe some, but yeah, I kinda get what you're trying to say, yeah? I think. Honestly, that's a statement you should probably never make, because it's fucking hard to imagine what other people are thinking, but we can try. That's the best we can do. Yeah, disheartening is probably a very good way of saying it. Ah, it's annoying. But hey, you know, record player. That's kind of cool. I still have that that thing for the... Actually, I have two nice things from the past. I still have my good old-fashioned VHS recorder, mind you. I can still technically tape VHS if I wanted to. On the one hand. And of course I could also I also have my thing for the vinyls. Where's that actually?
Do you mind keeping Marlene company until I'm done with this?
Me?
I would ask what you're doing.
Yeah, you.
What is she doing? I mean, she's quite literally standing around and doing nothing. She's like, can you take care of stuff for me? Bitch, please, you're not busy. That will probably... I mean, you know, it's not gonna go away. It's pretty damn obvious after, what? Called what? COVID-19 and we have 22? Yeah, been around for a while. Don't think we're gonna get rid of that anytime soon, so getting used to living with that is probably the better way of doing things. I mean, quite literally, she's just standing there. And doing nothing. Yeah, woman. Welcome to our hometown. I see. Then again, you know, around here it's actually not... I mean, technically speaking, it is a bit better. There are some, you know, states who are more on the disagreeing side, but generally speaking, the overarching government is doing its job somewhat, although in a very inefficient manner, so to speak. However, the pure damages it has done to small businesses like my own is not even funny to think about. Actually, now that I think about it. Diva, would you mind being a part of my little experiment for a while? Let's see. Can I? No, I can't. Shit. Tifa, you're no fun. Not even 20 years later. Sushimo. I would say so. That sounds actually somewhat promising. Also, I do like the idea of people doing more streams. I must admit, I have become somewhat of a fan of streaming myself over the past year or so. Quite the enjoyable activity, isn't it? Quite mystifistical, I think. So that sounds very good. Yet you got some material to keep you occupied. Of course, I'm only talking about yours truly's stream, of course. Yeah, doesn't sound that bad if you put it into that perspective. I guess sometimes you just have to kind of remember the good things. It's like when I'm getting myself a new good pipe tobacco. Those are the moments you live for. Yeah. Honestly, I really wish I could actually invest more time, but recently even the weekends have been painfully busy. And now we have the beginning of the year, and that means it's time to do taxes again, which is, for small business, the most yay time of the year. It's like, yeah, all my hard-earned money. Which wasn't actually that much, considering that COVID kind of fucked us over, so there's that. Which also means we have more time to do it, because we can do it a bit later, but still, let's not think about it. It's actually the one time of the year when I actually play Hitman games, just so I can randomly start murdering things left, right, and center. It's very good for aggressions, I must admit. Taxation. I kind of like to point out, you know, in games I'm a huge fan because usually I'm the one getting the taxation paid out to me. Paying them as a small business owner, however, is, yeah, at least around here, this is painful. A very, very, very painful thing. Okay, let's keep the child busy. That's a nice stream you've got going there. Cloud, you seem like a very expert when it comes to dealing with children.
What the hell do you think you're doing, scaring my daughter like that?
You do know, bitch boy.
Daddy says never talk
We
to
didn't
strangers.
do anything.
That's right, honey, I do say that. What a good girl you are, remembering Daddy's
That's
lessons.
indeed a day to dream of, isn't
You
it?
know what else good girls do? They go to bed on time. Come on.
But I'm not tired. I want to talk some more, Daddy.
Yes, yes, child. Now, be good and go sleep,
Just
sleepy.
this once.
So then, what can I get you?
Something strong,
I'm still waiting
stiff, anything that's gonna burn me.
Right.
Would be nice.
About that. We should talk.
That's
Outside.
never a good thing. If a woman owes you money and she starts, we need to talk, that's never a good sign.
Daddy?
Basically,
The
yes.
people who died all returned to
Now,
the planet?
you people stay here, I have a date. I mean, you know, reacquainting myself with my old fuck buddy is probably a good idea. Now then, do
Before
tell.
we get on to money, there's an empty apartment in a place just down the road. It's nothing fancy, but
Yeah,
was
well, it's
thinking
not
you
in the
could stay
market
there
for it.
now. The landlady's a big friend of the cause, so you wouldn't even have to pay rent.
So, you know,
Sound good?
one thing I always found
Sure
rather
does.
interesting.
Thanks.
I mean, I know Tifa is getting the whole,
Follow me then.
childhood friend, I'm trying to get you back on
How was it
track
up
kind
on
of
plane?
nonsense going.
That was
Get it really good, okay?
Sorry for
But
dragging you into
her
all
idea of
this.
getting him, you
It
know,
was wrong of me to
back
put
into
you
business
like that.
and shape
I promise I won't do it again.
is to introduce him to a fucking terrorist group.
Don't worry about me.
That's
I'll try not
that's
to.
not really.
Always happy to help stick it to Shinra.
When you think about it, that's not really a good way to get back on track. I mean, couldn't you have maybe you tried him, you know, encouraged him to get a job at Shinra, and, you know? I mean, I know the whole overarching planet is dying thing is actually a thing this time, but usually... I mean, you know, you can't get out there and get a job. I mean, being, you know, your average salary might not be as exciting. But man, if you want to stay in the mercenary business, do a security gig or something. If you want to have, you know, big sword on your back and be looking all imposing. Is terrorism really the answer? Questions. Good questions. Very many questions. I mean, yeah, it is a job, but apparently, since I'm still getting, I'm still owed money, not the most well-paying one so far. Actually, considering the amount of potions I misused along the way, because I couldn't be asked to actually
Not good at
learn the
all.
game better.
So, you
I'm
make
pretty
dice
much in the
with
red at this
everyone?
point.
Much as I could, all things considered. Maybe not enough for them.
Good. You had me worried. You're not exactly a people person.
You don't say.
I'll give you that.
I don't think Cloud has any sort of incarnation he has ever been in a
I saw
people
Sector 8
person.
on the news.
Well, it doesn't matter, does
It's
it?
like a war zone.
The news is just another Shinra mouthpiece. They'll spread whatever.
Yeah, but I mean,
knowledge Shinra
Shinra
tells them
pays
to.
enough for the poor people to be all like, yay, Shinra.
It was.
Which means that they're probably paying you more than the very lowest they can. At least when you work
And
with
here
them.
we are. Good old Stargazer Heights.
Oh, nice.
You're on the second floor.
I live in the slums now. I have come a long way, apparently. Ah,
Room 201 here is where I sleep. Don't have time for much else, what with Seventh Heaven and all.
honestly, that is a
Not
very
even time
good
to
question. I think, I mean, you know, he's got anime skills. That is basically his whole existence, in one way or another. But yeah, he should most definitively just imagine rolling your shoulder and, you know, click, ouch, cut in your arm. You can quite literally, yeah. It's shiny. Very shiny. But then again, you know, I think I heard at some point that very heavy swords like this are basically more like, you know, edged clubs, basically. They're not really that sharp, usually. Where did I actually hear that? I don't remember off the top of my head. So probably it's actually not that sharp. It looks sharp, and I don't know how future technology would make swords, of course. It's left up to the imagination, I guess. But you can probably just deal enough damage with the weight alone. Yeah, that goes out of my head wrong. Yeah, that reminds me of oh yeah, of a nice little teenage memory of when we were out in the woods and, you know, we were all smoking cigarettes, of course. Only cigarettes, of course. Will be my official stance. And that one girl with really long hair actually managed to burn off a good amount of that with a cigarette. That was, in one way, very fun. When you think about it, though, it's probably not the nicest experience you had in life. You can hurt yourself very easily.
Here's your room, 202.
Well,
Don't
nice.
worry, I already told the landlady about you.
You did?
Yes?
That's actually right.
Oh, I mean, I told her I had a friend.
Actually, where are
looking
we
for a
on that
place to stay.
debate right now?
Was that too much?
I think
No.
we're
It's fine.
in the territory of legal at
And
this point.
this?
Pretty sure, yeah.
one's, know what? It's getting late. I'll introduce you tomorrow.
That sounds like a troublesome neighbor. Now, second try. Can we actually get it? We can. Black, eh? Good color scheming there. Going black with black. Would have kind of liked a bit more variety, but, well, you know. I guess at least underwears are very much a taste.
It's a little bare, but should be enough to get you through the night.
I see where you're coming
If you
from.
want anything else, we can always
There
get
is
it.
one thing. My money. You guys owe me 2,000, remember?
Nice. Cloud has his
I
priorities
do.
very straight.
And we'd love to settle up, especially since this was your first job
So,
for us.
where's my
but
money?
That's it?
Sorry.
Shit.
We spent the rest preparing for the mission. That really is it. But not for long. I'm collecting money for filters tomorrow, so I can pay you after.
But I do think that, considering
You're
just...
sure about that?
Of course, as long
Well, I mean,
as
how
you help,
big and how
that is.
many things are getting streamed at any
Then I'd have
given
to pay you
time,
for that too.
would probably be reasonably hard to actually
No, 2,000's enough.
get everything for every
So,
potential
that'll be
bannable
the price.
offense you could commit.
With what you gave me,
Yeah,
at
probably.
least 1,500.
You're the best. I'll see you bright and early at the bar then. Thanks again for everything. Sleep tight.
You like to live on the edge, I see. Well, we've got 1/4 of the promised money. That's a very bad deal. Terrorism pays less than... Yeah, it just pays less. Time to get a normal work. Jesus, that's one way of standing up. To be fair, I'm many things, but not a morning person. I would
Guess it's time
probably
for
not
introductions.
manage that at all. That's one title. The #1 bearded bikini streamer. To be fair, that sounds like a very, very, very interesting title to obtain. I will politely refrain from challenging your title. You keep that. It suits you well.
Hey, you okay in there?
Okay, doesn't sound like somebody doing some nice smexy time, so maybe it's an actual emergency for once, you know, a medical one. Well, that is a medical emergency. Yeah. Cloud, you idiot. Don't you know that your sword is pretty big? That's not a household item you use indoors. Oh shit, we're in for some gay rape. Oh, run away! Your virginity, the other one, is in danger.
Cloud, stop! Get back inside! Get off me!
Your chat has become immune to your antics. Now let's not go in the typical way of
What
getting
are you
even
doing,
further.
Marco? This is his apartment. He's got a few problems, but he's not a bad guy. The landlady
guy looks
asked
like a
me to
freaking
check on him now and then
cultist.
to make sure he's okay.
That seems like
Can I
more
ask
like
you to do
a
the
small
same?
problem.
Sure.
Jesus fucking Christ. So can we now go back to blowing up reactors? At least that was somewhat fun. The explosions were nice. Although this game is not that well optimized, all things considered. Yeah, I mean, you know, to be fair, the guy he beat up is not so much a good veteran, but rather a veteran of cultism, which should probably be cult, to be very fair, but yeah. I mean, you know, kind of leaves me with a bit of a mixed feeling. Okay, new day, new life, new job, and all of the good nonsense now. If I have anything to say about it, and since I'm controlling you, I have. How about we get you a job? You know, work in the fucking factory or something, so we get some money at least. And we can maybe run a small little business of our own. That is something I can very much get behind. Pretty sure I could... I mean, we're in the slums, there's probably not that much money around, but enough people, so... If we're not too greedy, we can probably make a nice living just with that. Actually, I would like to look around the slums. I mean, you know, because, well, original Final Fantasy, for all it's good, it wasn't the most graphically complex game, so to speak. And I want to see how they interpreted things
Well now,
in modern
you must be
times.
Cloud.
You don't say.
I'm Marl, your landlady. So how'd you like the place?
It's a dump, but
You
apart from
from
that...
up on high?
I've been around.
I'll bet. No matter. All kinds come through with all kinds of reasons.
Well, me
If
neither.
you ever need an ear to bend, I'll let
Honestly,
you know.
I
It can be about
ignored the
anything,
modern
even
Final
cheap
Fantasy
What should
titles,
you do?
starting with Final Fantasy VII
Granddaughter
completely,
I'd never had.
and I
And if you
kinda
had her, I'd
rejoined
take
with
it out
Final
of your
Fantasy VIII
heart.
for a bit, then I played Final Fantasy VII after that.
Good.
Going back from
Daddy
Final
Best better
Fantasy
move on
VIII
to
to Final
7th
Fantasy
Heaven. He's got a
VII,
head start on you and then some.
it really doesn't leave much of a strong impression, graphical-wise, honestly. You know, all the blocky characters and stuff. Still played it, it's still a good game, and honestly, it's enjoyable. But, you know, I've played through a few, but honestly, the ones I played through mostly is the old ones. I played through Final Fantasy VII, I think, one time in a, you know, shoddy, just wanna get finished it, and another time with a bit more of a completionist kinda way. Final Fantasy VIII, in multiple ways, I actually played through that. Yeah. And 1, 2, and I think 4 I played a bit. Don't think I finished 6 ever. Well, there's that. Then came out 9, and I played it, and I enjoyed it, and then I was like, okay, I'm finished with this series for, well, all the time. How times have changed, I've come back, haven't I? Now, where am I supposed to be going? Tactics, yeah, that was actually also a thing, I think. So wasn't there, what was it, DCD or something? I remember that one. Oh, it was kind of fun. Although, to be fair, I will not put my hand up and swear that that's the name, because I'm very, very bad with names. Always have been one of my weaknesses.
Searching for candidates.
Random people with guns just sitting on the corner and going like, yes, maybe I can shoot somebody with this.
Back to living in a dump.
Actually doesn't look that futuristic. I mean, then again, we are using swords, so, yeah. Final Fantasy. Not a bad series at all, although when Final Fantasy came out, Breath of Fire also came out, and I was always more of a fan of the good old Breath of Fire series, mostly because its consistency is just amazing. You play one Breath of Fire, you play another one, and another one, and they're all pretty much the same. Good times. Yeah, it takes an ass load of time, and usually, especially JRPGs, do like to give you quite a bit of grinding to do if you want to do it reasonably easy.
Hold on. Don't tell me you're making that face because you think it looks good.
Do it!
It's easy to get into one, because, you know, stories are easy to get in.
Looks like you're having a bad day.
Great quest. Actually, I don't think I ever finished a Dragon Quest.
Even our facility
I started quite a few, but I never finished one. What else would be on the list of things I finished? I mean, there's some Suikoden titles, then there's some Tales of games, I think? Tales of Fantasy or something? Some of the older ones.
1, 2, ready?
Then there's, of course, you know, the classical stuff from the western side. Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is awesome. You know, I feel like playing Baldur's Gate again. Shit. Baldur's Gate. Really made me aware of gaming. Quite a nice one. Actually, I have the exact same. Actually, I have all 3 Witcher games installed just so I can stream them at some point. I haven't decided yet. At some point I will. Yeah, I know that feeling. I actually have so many games, and the older I got, actually, the more games I had, but the less of them I actually had played. It's a cycle of less time, more money, I suppose. As soon as you go out and you start earning money, you're like, now I can buy all of the games I want. Oh, this game looks good, let me buy it. And then you're sitting there like one evening and I'm like, yes, I have like 1 hour before I need to go to bed. Great. I will never finish my backlog.
If the planet's a living being,
Really? Not a chance in hell I will ever do that. Which also means, consequently speaking, that as far as streaming is concerned, I probably have more than enough titles for half an eternity.
Step back.
Well, either that or when I actually use my job and I sit around all day and have nothing to do. Which would also consequently mean that I starve. What? I must admit I'm not too good with first person. If it's just the tiniest bit of I get a fucking headache every time I play it. I tried playing the Doom 3 a bit and half an hour and I was suffering.
Sock the president right in the face?
Not too much into that. I mean, for some reasons, for example, I can very much, or at least a little bit better, deal with stuff like the... Why are you showing me this? Am I near something? Dishonored, for example. It's first person, but I can, for some reason, endure it a lot better. Doom 3, however, bleh, yeah. Half an hour, my head feels like I'm going to have a hole drilled into it from the inside. Oh yeah, do you want to know where Avalanche is? I can tell you. Actually, it would be... I mean, it would be a dick move by Cloud. But then again, he just got fucked out of his money, so if I were to go to Shinra, go like, I know where Avalanche is, do you wish to now pay me my money? I actually couldn't even bring a blame for that. Also, you know, terrorism is not nice. Can I just...
Hey there, welcome. Look around, take all the time you need.
What do we have actually? Items apparently. Bird seam, sure. I mean, depending on what sort of chair, I mean here, like this little stool, he could probably sit on this one. If he's a bit careful.
Just can't decide.
Just a bit careful. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is not the most practical. Sure. I do like it when in old games when they just draw their giant weapons out of thin air, that too was a thing, but at least then you could be like, okay, at least normally you can do things, move around. Also, you know, before we even start asking that, how the hell is this thing actually clinging to his back? You know? I have some serious question about that. How? It looks like it's directly connected, but what is actually keeping it there? I do know that on that side that sword has no sort of hook or anything, as far as I'm aware at least. Or is he just using his material slots to hook his sword up or something? That would be creative, mind you. I don't think anyone invested that much thought into it yet. Do wonder why they always keep out of stuff like this.
I think we all know that most topsiders look down their noses at us.
I feel real sorry.
Our daughter deserves
I mean, just with one look, that thing must weigh a lot. He should very well suffer from that.
It was those Avalanche terrorists that bombed the reactor.
Also, we have a bar. Why don't we make any good money? Jesus Christ, there are so many things that are not making sense. I'm still wondering though, how
Morning.
Tifa's mind works.
Marlene's still asleep.
It's like, hey, friend of mine, dearest friend of mine, why don't we do some
These
terrorism?
water filters won't replace themselves.
I will never get over it. Now that I thought I was
Probably
like,
could
it
if Jessie
just
put her
won't go
mind to
away.
it. Most every home in the area has one.
Mhm,
Folks
mhm,
love them
mhm.
because they practically eliminate the rotten egg smell. Honestly, they make us more money than this place. And it's easy money too. We bring new filters, collect
Are you telling
old
me
ones,
that
and
in
get
a,
paid.
in a slum,
What?
a bar doesn't make money?
Break.
Woman, what have you doing?
Salesman.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Which is why no one will refuse to pay. What do you say? Please?
Yes, otherwise you're an activist or something, isn't it?
Let's get this over with.
Different names say meaning. You're
Great.
still doing the
And
horrible.
while we're at it, I'll give you the grand tour.
But still, let me reiterate my point. This is a slums. There are many desperate people here. Just offer some cheap fucking liquor and you make a killing. Sure, it's not the nicest thing to do, but... yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures and stuff. It's not that fucking hard to make fucking money with a bar. Especially not that like this. Eh. That woman has no business sense whatsoever. I have lost any hope that we will ever get our money, and my desperation is
Go ahead and keep whatever we collect.
reaching
Seeing as you
brutally
bring
high
in
levels at this
luggage,
point.
I'm guessing there's stuff you need to buy.
Well, I guess I will keep to the point that you have...
We'll pay you the difference after.
yeah, sure.
Barrett's out making his rounds too.
As long as I get it all together.
I don't believe it, but well, I will follow the ass like any good... well, I don't even know how old is Cloud at this point. 18 or something? Any young man would.
Hey there. Here to change out your water filter.
Oh, nice.
Tifa, baby, how you doing? Been waiting for you to... Wait, let me see.
Cloud's in charge
Yeah,
of
you know.
collections. He'll take your money.
Just your average
Sounds like a
little
pretty sweet
fuckboy.
gig.
Usual.
If you ever need someone to fill in, I'm your man.
In your dreams, maybe.
Cloud! Since we're here, Maybe we should do a little shopping.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, you know.
I can take a look.
You are in a desperate situation. You will not see any improvement in your near future. You just need to get through the day over and over again. That's a pain. That's really not a nice feeling. I mean, I, at one point, had to work for basically pennies and live off of that. It's not nice. It's very easy to give into the temptation, you know, just spend what little you have. An extra cash. Not on saving up and, you know, trying to improve your state, but drink it away. Very tempting. I can absolutely understand. So if Tifa tells me that she can't make good money off a bar in the fucking slums, that means that she's offering high-priced drinks for the upper crust in a bar in the fucking slums. That's idiotic as fuck. Why, game? Ice and lightning. I guess I would kinda like to have them. How much money do I actually have? 1.5. I don't feel rich. And now I feel even poorer.
Thanks.
Sure, I just spent more than
If you're
I
in the
earned.
market for anything else, drop on by. Especially if Tifa's with you.
We'll see you around, okay? And let us know when your filter next needs changing.
That it indeed does. People do need this. I mean, you know, simple labor sounds nice on one hand, but it's also menial, mindless task most of the time.
He's a regular.
That's going to kill your mind in many, many ways.
For you, maybe.
Well, you could try being a little nicer.
Yeah, or could grow a fucking
free
pair of
shit?
tits.
Not my style.
Woman, that's not how it works.
Our next stop is Stargazer Heights. Landlady's a client.
Just met her.
Then you know what to expect.
It's like, Tifa, you do understand that
She's
there's
good
a
friend of
very
Avalanche, so be nice.
grave difference here between us, yeah? You will get a free drink, I will get my ass kicked if I try that. Woman sometimes. Especially in games.
My husband decided to go to the station and see if they got any.
Now then, money? Is there money to be made
Hey,
here?
Marl. Got some filters for you.
Tifa, my dear girl. Oh, what's he doing here?
Working?
The difference
Be nice.
in treatment.
Cloud's helping me with collections.
Wasn't there something about equality or
Better
something?
take care of her.
I'm pretty good at taking care of myself, you know.
That I do. Still, better him than you.
Ah, I remember those times, yeah.
Wit, big sword,
I remember
but
living
no skills.
not very
I've got
different
skills.
from that,
Be
actually.
nice.
Took quite a while actually until I got... when I started
You're
having my
looking
own place,
awfully calm.
I
Are
had
you getting
a
enough
mattress
sleep? A good
and a
long
sink
rest
and
if
some
you're
of those
anything, I think.
water cooker
A
thingies.
tried and
Didn't
true
even have a
lesson for
stove or
life on the
anything.
ground floor.
Jesus, I
Am I
remember
right?
that.
That you are.
Ah,
Now,
Jesus
the
Christ.
money.
Thanks, Marl.
Good times.
You take care of yourself.
Don't
I
do
mean, you know,
anything I
not
wouldn't
in
do.
any reasonable sense, but you learn quite a lot when you have to do all the fucking things yourself and you slowly but surely see things improving. Ah, and also we're talking about a
She
fucking
helped get me set
small
up back in the
place.
day.
I mean, not that my place now is that much bigger, but
5 years.
let's just say the furnishings have improved somewhat.
But never mind that.
The only thing that
We
stayed
gotta
is the
get you
long
your
work
money.
weeks.
Last stop is the weapons store.
Not actually that long. Technically speaking, I'm at what, 50, 55 max a week? Yes, pretty much actually. I don't think I ever reached 60 lately.
That last filter didn't do shit.
We're so
think-
sorry about that. Hopefully this one will work better.
Yeah.
Save your excuses and get out.
All right.
Ah.
If you could just
I
settle
mean,
your bill,
if I set myself
we'll be
a
on our
very,
way.
very direct goal that I need to work for, I could potentially muster
My
it.
associate handles payment
But you get so
disputes.
comfortable with
Think you
things.
can mosey up in here and have it your way?
Pretty please.
Doesn't work for you, Claude. Doesn't work for you.
Thank you very much. Seeing as we're done with our rounds and you've got a small fortune now, why not
Yeah,
take a
living
gander
like
at the
this is
weapons?
pretty damn comfortable, I will
Well,
admit.
When will Barrett be back with the
Heck, I
rest?
can't even pay for my fucking internet this time. Isn't
Before
that
we open
nice?
up tonight. It'll be a while yet, so
If I can
What
only
are you
get rid
gonna
of my
do?
ex-wife, that would be amazing, but, well, that's not an option.
in
But, I
that
mean,
case,
no, it is an
I've
option.
got a
It would just land me
suggestion.
into some very hot water.
hear it?
Let's not do that.
If you're serious about becoming a
Ah.
merc, then you're going to need to start making connections.
Also, it's probably one reason why
It's not
some
what
of
you
my
know,
furnishings are
you know?
mismatched as fuck. I have no eye for decorating things.
For life on the ground floor.
Yep.
Kinda reminded of that when I look around.
Jobs build your
Still, I
rep,
like it.
and more rep gets you better connections.
How do I start?
Why not help out the neighborhood watch? They're mostly volunteers.
Indeed,
but you'll
the
get
things
to know
we hold
people.
dear. Small,
Yeah,
little things.
okay.
Didn't see anybody at the office, so let's head up top.
No better way to keep you and your family safe than with a weapon of your own. Come and check out our selection.
Do you have anything
Speak
nice
with our
weapon-wise?
friendly staff to find the perfect weapon for you and your needs.
Huh? I ain't got nothing for a punk-ass bitch like you.
You lied to
Get
me.
on outta
Your
here.
store's full of shit.
No better way to keep you and your family safe than with a weapon of your own.
Yeah,
Come
I
and
would
check
buy
out
one,
our
but I
selection.
can't because your salesperson is a little bitch about things. Ah, that's not a good start.
Do something about the monsters on Scrap Boulevard. I'll head on down
Yeah, you expect me to go in? Yes, you expect me to go in.
Didn't know you were holding down the fort.
Huh? Oh, hey, Cloud.
Hey, look, it's
Looking to
Mr.
join the neighborhood
Inconspicuous and his
That
buddy.
depends. What does this neighborhood watch do?
I have serious questions about who the fuck
Lots of
tapes
stuff, really.
magazines to his
Our top
shoulders,
priority is
what
taking
sort
care
of
any
purpose that is
beasts
supposed to be
that wander
serving.
town. That, teaching
But as I kinda pointed out yesterday, if you were dead in a fucking train after a
Only one
terrorist
who'll look out for
strike,
you is you.
it's
Cloud's a great fighter, but only we know
absolutely
that. If no one knows
not
him, no one will hire him. Thought if he joined the watch,
a good
he could
idea.
get his name out there.
That would
To be
work
fair
for
though, if Shinra is that
everybody.
incompetent that they can't spot that these people look fucking suspicious, I'm sorry to say, but they deserve to kinda get ruined.
For example, aha. What about your sword?
Yeah, no touchy, no touchy.
No thanks. It's fine just the way it is.
What? You some kind of purist? I know I'd never pass up a chance to improve my gear. Come on. At least let me show you how it's done.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't look to be, you know, in pristine condition anyway, so maybe he's not making it worse. Okay, spend SP skill points to unlock special skills infused in weapons. Is that useful when I can just buy better weapons or newer weapons? Game, you kinda throw me for a bit of a loop here. Okay. Okay, press X. Cloud. Yes, tutorial. Very nice of you to point out that I need to press X. It's like, wow. Then next to it is the amount of SP you can spend on the weapon. Ooh, fancy animation. Ooh. Fancy. Unlock weapon skills and enhance your weapons. Weapon skills can be unlocked using yes, you sell or there's a select weapon skills to unlock. Okay. Make sure to gap. More HP sound nice because I have a tendency to be somewhat unfocused and then die. Tech up also sounds nice. And now I have 2 little points. For anything. You can automate SP allocation by selecting weapon and pressing that to change your weapon upgrade settings. Select the setting that best accommodates your... what the fuck? Since there's all kinds of benefit effects, blah blah blah, when the character levels up, and the max SP of the equipped weapon increases, the weapon also levels up. The higher the weapon level, the more types of weapon skills become available. Okay, but that would then kinda discourage me from buying different new weapons? Have they changed it? I mean, I do kinda remember that in Final Fantasy VII you got quite a nice set of weapons actually. I mean, I have the official guidebook from 1998 sitting just next to me, and I'm pretty sure I saw a list of weapons. Not really enough skills. Yeah, no, I don't want that to auto... No, game, that's a horrible idea. I don't want a fucking AI to decide which skills to get. Fuck you. No, 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 no. Did I beat unless you count the ones I beat 20 years ago? Well, I'm not that far behind. I think the last game I beat... was that actually... Oh yeah, that was that one. See, I have a friend of mine who has a tendency to, you know, randomly gift me shit. He just kinda do it, and then he mixes in some horribleness, like, you know, some smasty porn game or something. And the last one I beat actually was one of those. It was actually one of the better ones. It was a card game. I mean, you know, ignore a lot of porn, but it was actually a well thought out card game. It was kind of fun. Beat that actually. That is actually not that long ago. No, I don't think you know him. It's a tech boy. I don't think he's actually... Is he active anywhere? Would actually have to ask him. I will. An old friend of mine. He's a bit of an eccentric personality. I've played a few that he's thrown in. Basically, it's like, here, take this. I want to play this with you. And I'm like, okay. And I get a list of nice little things. And then it's like, oh, look, there's another one. Damn well knows that I, being somewhat soft on people giving me free stuff, well, at least, give it a trial, but some of those are just horrible, fucking amazing. Amazingly horrible, I could say. But yeah, it's like with this card game. Sometimes it's like, okay, it might have a bad reputation because of what it is, but it's actually good and fun. Kinda surprising sometimes, honestly.
All set? Needless to say, you'll have to
nice little example of you should never just judge the book by its cover, I suppose.
We'll do you one better. Spread the word to everyone who'll listen about the new merc in town.
Between him and Wedge, there isn't anyone they don't know.
I'll march through the streets singing your praises, even on an empty stomach.
Then you would be lying, because you don't know shit about me.
Scrap Boulevard.
Yeah, but sometimes you really find a nice little jewel. Surrounded by lots of nonsense, though. Oh, I got some of the other things. Oh, some of the things I've seen. It was like, why game?
Sure thing. I know these streets better than anyone.
Yeah, I know quite a few games like this. I know. I know precisely what you mean.
Let me have a look at your sword when you get back, huh?
Nope. Still not gonna get my... I mean, come on, man. You wouldn't touch my penis either, would you?
You go all over town, meet all kinds of people...
And since Cloud is your average JRPG protagonist, he quite literally has, nothing between his legs, but something on his back. That's how that works. I always imagined. Mostly I imagine so because, they're absolute lack in sexual urges.
Anyway, we should prepare, just in case. Even our facilities are starting to look a little run down. Don't you think?
Yep. Actually, for quite a while I was not that different. I was like, okay, if they include porn, they usually focus so much on the porn that they actually have, decent porn in it, but not really game. And I was kind of, feeling a bit meh on the concept. And, well, then he was like, okay, I'm going to give this to you, players for the fuck's sake. And, well, you did, and I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, okay, eye-opening, really eye-opening experience. Ever since then, I was actually a bit more open about the idea. Must have been 5 or 6 years ago, actually, at this point. Good times.
I can see why monsters would feel right at home.
And the more we pile up, the more they show up.
It's actually the only real problem. I mean, you could potentially stream it. I wouldn't recommend streaming that. It would probably actually get you very, very, very much closer to getting in all sorts of trouble. But at least for a moment or so, you could probably stream it. Could try. Then again, I would most definitively not try that. No, you don't. Ouch. Come on, I avoided that.
That's that.
Yeah. Honestly, I think in general, just like with any sort of business you do, it's better to bit on the side of caution. Test your... test the borders that are set for you a bit. Don't overdo it. At least not, if you don't have a, generally speaking, plan for what, why, and how. But yeah, it makes it kind of hard to prove, because words are kind of shallow. Smoke and mirrors, and it is kind of hard to prove points without actually showing, like, look and tell, see, this good. Well, we can't have all. Well, we could all become porn stars and make videos, I guess. And then sneakily put in some gaming. That would be a new concept. A very new, interesting, and exciting context, yes. We're making a porn movie, but there's gaming inside.
You too.
Just like in some of those porn games. A lot of porn, a little bit of gaming, and everybody's happy.
If you don't look out for yourself, no one else
Ah,
will.
some of the
By
shitty
the
things
way,
you see.
That one's gonna be on the test.
This a lesson?
Gotta
Yes,
learn
it's gonna
if you're
be.
gonna stick around.
It's gonna be a test. Shit. Maybe I should actually listen for once. Yeah, let's not. Let's not listen to this nice woman explaining things to us. Where do you have? Wait. Damn, Cloud. What is Cloud doing? He's moving back, isn't he? Yeah, it does kinda, doesn't it? That's probably something that they don't have to deal with every day, which makes it probably a bit easier to
I
spot.
think that might be the last of them.
We won't stay gone for long.
Of course not. Even so, folks will be grateful for the peace and quiet in the meantime. A win's a win, you know? Trust me, it'll do wonders for your rep.
And again,
Right.
conversations.
Let's go check
I
in
mean,
with Biggs and Wedge.
spoken conversations, you know, as opposed to written conversations, do have a tendency to be seen quite a bit more lenient in most cases. At least as far as the law is concerned. They don't count for much, usually. So maybe there's actually a bit of a, you know, bit of wiggle room there. Yeah. Why? Let us better not combine things that are not supposed to be combined. Also, I don't think I would make much of a good porn star. I'm a bit too one time. May actually be able to pull that off. Hot tub streaming, eh? I mean, I see why it gets attention. And you know, nobody in their right mind has a problem with a nice pair of tits jiggling here and there and everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to go there. Now, something else has boomed. What happened? The True Life has actually tipped a whooping €3.50. Oh, actually, I'm not used to that, so I'm kind of sitting here like, I need to read this twice to actually understand what it says. It's like, oh, it's actually very nice of you. I appreciate it very much, actually. I was not expecting that. Just sitting here talking about porn and suddenly, bloop. Maybe the porn had something to do with it. It's interesting how that ended up happening, but honestly, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be easier if we were all born nice looking females and could just use our looks to get ourselves a bit more attention, sure, but I think I would get tired of that very fucking quickly, knowing myself. You know, it's basically just a one-trick pony thing. Nice for a while, sure, but I get tired of it. I mean, sure, if I can make nice money with it, I would probably stick with it, but yeah, no. Let's not think about that.
Back already?
Got every last one too. Now the slum should be safe.
Well, shit. They got you good, eh? Never promise something you're not willing and not able to actually do.
What did you tell them?
It's alright. All you gotta do is keep up the good work. It'll pay off soon enough, I promise.
I mean, to be fair, that's a very distinct thing. An interesting niche you found yourself, you could say. One that most people probably wouldn't expect, which actually just adds to the interesting fact. As a marketing idea, that's actually not bad. I mean, you know, it's something I do think about when I include new produce and stuff, so... I always do wonder just how much of my potential business experience I could actually use for internet things, but I don't really want to. It would kind of seem like a bit of a...
It's a long story.
It would end up being fucking fake, wouldn't it be? Of course it would be, because that's the main... Yeah, that's one of the main aspects.
That sounds great. I'll come too.
Oh, no, you won't.
What?
No, let's not do this. Let's stay just ourselves and have some fun. That sounds a lot more
They
fun.
haven't seen each other in years. You'd be a third wheel.
Very good. Very good indeed.
Hey, before we get back to it, why don't you check out the weapons?
Because I just upgraded my weapon.
Come on, the dealer's probably heard all about you by now. Might treat you better.
I don't know about that.
The dealer's been a little bitch and I don't care about him. Also, this is precisely... Now I'm a bit of a dilemma for myself because, you know, I'm the kind of person who's like, okay, either all or nothing. Either I'm gonna buy the strongest weapon and then start upgrading it, or I'm starting upgrading weapons, but then I want to use them for like a half an eternity. Yes, you already said that. Shut up. So how about you?
Heard there's a merc that'll take on any monster. You the man?
As long as they're small and be low level 10.
What if I
That
am?
yes.
Sorry about before. I get antsy when business is slow.
Yes, you should, as a business owner.
Man in
Well,
your line of work needs
yes,
weapons.
are you actually the owner?
Why not try that one
You
on
seem
for
like the
size?
salesperson.
Yours on the house. Badass like you rocking my weapons is good advertising. Think about it.
Fine.
Would only be true if you actually were the maker,
Or if you
or you
wanna
have
take a look
your
at something
brand
else.
somewhere on the sword. Or you make him actually spout, I bought this weapon at so-and-so. Otherwise, you know, the advertising is not gonna work that much. I mean, you know, subtle advertisement can work. It can, yes. But not all that efficient. You really need to widespread then, and that's pricey. My big companies use very, very direct marketing, as well as subtle marketing, and they just do it in proportion that actually is usable. Nothing a small business usually gets out of that.
Don't be a stranger.
Well, I can now acquire weapons abilities. And the weapon's ability, the ability becomes your own, and you can use it without the weapon equipped. Oh, that's actually interesting. That's an interesting combo system there. So I master my weapon, and then I get the skill, and then I can keep the skill, but use it with a better weapon. I see.
Since you've got
That's
yourself a
interesting.
new weapon, let's see if we can't put it to good use. Come on, let's go chat up Weimer.
I like it, you know. In most scenes, Cloud has basically in bold letters written on his
Could toss some work.
forehead the words reluctant.
Where is he at?
I mean, look at him, he's just there.
He should be back at the
I have
office by
to.
now.
I like it. It was like, let's do this, let's do this. Like, okay, if I have to, I have to. Yeah, sure.
You just opened up shop in the area, didn't you?
Sign has been updated. Got new numbers for monster slaying this month. Check them out.
Engaging your mod. Usually becoming a mod on my channel was maybe in chat while I'm playing a game and the bot comes calling. That doesn't sound difficult.
Searching for candidates.
But
hey there, Tifa.
does sound like a reasonable requirement. I mean,
Actually,
technically
I
speaking, as
wanted
long
to
as people
introduce
are
you to an old friend of mine. This is
normal
Cloud. He's a merc.
people and just
You don't say.
not, you know,
Well, we're always on the lookout
outright
for experienced
assholes.
fighters to help us deal with the bigger
Sounds
critters.
like a reasonable
I'll take
criteria.
on anything for the right price, that is.
Experienced and cocky, huh? If it's a challenge you want, I
Oh,
might have
Kitty,
a few good
what's
ones.
wrong?
Your
Is it your
clients
time
can
for
fill you in
food
on the
yet?
details.
Don't forget this yet.
Prove yourself at these jobs, and I'll see if I can't find you some more.
Thanks.
Then again, I never understood why people put that much of importance on the position anyway. I mean, okay, you can potentially make it up to be something more, but which reminds me, I never was a modded.
Performing physical analysis.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually interacted with the internet
Sizable
that much that I could actually
cardiovascular
say I have
health
much
and
experience in that
impressive
particular
lung
field.
capacity. Perfect
Precisely
balance
none, actually.
muscle and bone structure. An optimal candidate. My name is Chadley. I'm an intern for Shinra's Research and Development Division.
Your sense of closing, my
I hope
child,
you'll be
is
interested in helping me with my research.
interesting.
Please accept this as a down payment. I would like you to set that assessment
Very
materia
interesting.
in your equipment and use it to gather intelligence in battle.
It sounds like
This
a pain in the
data
ass.
will help me to develop new types of material.
I'm not interested in working for Shinra.
You should
Why
know that I
not?
work actively to undermine Shinra's efforts. I'm sure you of all people can appreciate the tremendous power of material.
Why does everybody
as
seems
well
to
as
assume
how
that
might
I'm
be wielded against your
anti-Shinra?
corporate enemies.
Heck, if they pay
And
well,
if you later decide that I am not worthy of your trust, you can do what you do best.
I will hold you to that.
Excellent. We shall work together so long as you.
That sounds like it could potentially get you into
please return and report to me.
an interesting amount of weirdos. Just from the title. Pain in the ass. I don't know why people seem to be such have such a blatant need for weirdness sometimes, but they do sometimes. Sadly enough. Sadly, not everything can be tolerated, of course. Otherwise, no Korean situation will ever come to pass, and you will get constantly distracted for no good reason. It's actually a pain.
That landlady moral.
Where's my map? That's a nice game. Okay, I have... Am I really supposed to be doing side quests now? I don't remember that being part of my gaming experience with the Final Fantasy VII. Do I have to? I mean, I guess it's good. It's their way of trying to get you a bit more invested into the whole slums and get to meet the people and interact with them a bit more. Yes, yes. But some of these characters are just fucking obnoxious, you know?
And you, the new merc in town looking for work, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
In that case,
oh boy.
Maybe you could do something about the Doom Rats? Them
What?
and their were-rat buddies have been tearing up town, looking for food and whatnot. Got into the store and made one hell of a mess, let me tell you. Oh, you think that's funny, do you? Don't lie. I saw you crack a smile.
Yes, it's the smile of somebody about to make some money. Off of somebody else's misfortune, even.
They're probably nesting in the outskirts. Now I've heard a were-rat in pain will call its friends for help. And the whole rat pack will come running just like that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I still remember 9/11, that was something. I mean, you know, I'm not nearly as directly involved as your average American, and even I think actually, what was it? We were actually called from class to watch the news on that one. That's how much of an impact it had, even, you know, halfway across the world. And sadly enough, it has attracted a lot of weird people with very, very weird... I mean, in general speaking, honestly, nowadays, I try to avoid politics like the plague. I mean, you can joke about them, sure, you can talk about politics in a game sense, but straight up politics are cancer. They're the biggest divider we have left. In the time of my grandparents, and that is something I know from my grandfather, religion and politics basically were hand to hand the two things that divided people and neighbors like nothing else. And only, you know, decent people, like my grandfather, for example, who was a pretty decent person, and his neighbors, understood that, you know, that's not really a good point. Don't fucking do that. Because, you know, it's not fucking worth it. At fucking all. Actually, I can probably... Yeah, they're going to attack me, so I can use my little Punisher sword. When you think about it, even years and years later, the 9/11 still holds
I don't see any Doom Rats around.
quite a bit of a spell on people, sadly enough.
Should we wait? You know, this might be a waste of time. Let's head back to the store.
Yeah, but the problem is, you know, you might want to have a nice discussion about politics, and, you know, I'm a person who's of the opinion that you should be more than accepting of opposing ideals and beliefs, of course. I don't think people need to share my personal beliefs. That's part of actually what makes people interesting when you think about it. But politics are just full of shit nowadays. Sadly. Many people who can't even engage with another opinion without immediately assuming the worst about the other person. And it starts from there and gets only worse. Honestly, I had more than enough of real life talks about that particular nonsense, and I kinda gave up on it, honestly. To the point where I actually try to avoid it. I'd rather talk about things that we can actually have fun with instead of, you know, getting the annoyance that comes with it. Maybe that's the coward's way out, actually, when you think about it, but just kinda, you know... Yeah, maybe I should actually listen to what the people are telling me. Do I have... Oh, right, I actually need to equip that one thing for my weapon, don't I? Yeah. I mean, I can absolutely get behind the idea of not wanting to live in an echo chamber. It's understandable, no question about it. Also, I think many great and much smarter than we are people have come to the conclusion that talking about things, especially when, you know, the other side is of another opinion, is actually something quite valuable to, you know, personal growth and learning in general. But the internet makes it far too easy to get very annoyingly high-strung about it. That's a bit of a difference, even when things, you know, clearly indicate that two people are of quite opposing directions in a debate. Not a problem. As long as they are face to face, they will at least try to keep civil, be it only for the simple fact that, you know, enraging somebody to the point where they punch you in the face is not really the end goal. It's easy enough to remember that in real life. On the internet, people sometimes forget. Just sometimes. Doesn't mean that that's always the case, and honestly, if it's your thing, and it is well managed to some degree, that's actually quite an achievement, actually, when you think about it. Map tracker, red problem, yes. What am I supposed to be doing here? I should sometimes listen to what people say in games, but I don't. It's like, there's goal here, and I'm sitting here like, no, there's no goal here. I mean, I can bring my little sword around. Maybe I should talk a bit more to the people outside of this area and learn a bit more. Pretty sure that is going to help. Maybe this time actually listen to what they're saying.
The leader of the Rat Pack is the worst of them all.
Yeah, sure.
The loudest, most obnoxious. Johnny liked to mimic it until we told him to cut that shit out.
Okay, where do I find Johnny then? Is that up here? No. You are a useless NPC, you're supposed to guide me.
The leader of the Rat Pack. Johnny liked to mimic it until we told him to cut that shit. Hey, this looked like a bloodstain.
Got the latest and greatest Shinra brand goods.
Hello! Oh, what do we have here?
You're random passing by Spiky Head, I suppose.
You're not here to shop, are you? People were right. You look like you can handle yourself.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Have made themselves at home in the
How
factory.
even do you come to that conclusion? We look at Cloud. It's not the sort of mercenary I would trust to lift the heavy crate.
Much obliged, sir. Head on over to the old Talagar factory and talk to Narjan. He's the watchman guarding the entrance. Good luck. I'm counting on you, my friend.
Once again, I only listened to half of what you had to say. It's one of those things where I'm not making a point of this. This will pose you any hot button issue. I'm not going to shy away from it. Sound offense. Yeah, that's probably the only way you can actually somewhat talk about politics without things exploding in your face all the time.
So I was at the Honeybee Inn and I met this incredible girl.
Yeah, that's like 100 meter in that direction. Okay.
Don't rush it and drop your tools. Take your time now.
Great.
Okay?
I boxed it. That's not nice, game. I do love my inability to just tell the nice man to, you know, please let me pass. But no. Politics. Oh, come on, game. Come on! I see. A bit of an enjoyer of the darker aspects of humanity, eh?
He's not a bad guy.
Don't worry, your little secret is safe with me. I shall take it with me to the grave.
Don't take your eyes off.
Of course. To be fair, a bit of chaos has never hurt anyone now, has it? Wait a second, I can go in there? Okay, I need to remember that. On my way back. It feels like, you know, I've lost a bit of track of what I was supposed to be doing. I was in the middle of a story about terrorism and suddenly it's like, now do side quests.
You'll never want for work around here if you prove yourself useful.
Please set the orb of assess materia to your equipment and use it to gather battle.
Guess we're gonna try hands as another one. I don't know. Side quests are either or for me. Either I'm getting into to the point where I'm like, yes, I'm going to do all of the side quests, or I'm at the point where I'm like, I would kind of like to just continue the fucking story now, please.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was kind of hoping she could help me find my friends.
I know someone who can help you.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I'm expecting great payment from this
They
chat.
have long arms and legs, and they're a little skinny. They like places where there's food and small spaces.
People going to the extreme. That's just why.
I'm looking for cats.
You would assume
Friendly, so if you find
people have actually learned that the extremes of the spectrum, political, religious, otherwise, are not really comfortable places to be in, but for some mystifistic reason, some people just never ever fucking learn. Painful. Very painful even. Yeah, see, doesn't seem to be anything down there. Huh?
There's this one dude on the watch.
It's just me, or are there more strays around?
Cats. I found cats. Well, I'm supposed to be looking for cats. There are many cats here. Come on, game. Reward me for exploring your areas. Game's like, no. You do it my way, or you do it not at all. That sounds like a country full of potential political conflicts that will probably get blown up to high heaven. To be fair, I live in a country that very well knows at least what a fucking Nazi is. Mostly because we were those at one time, weren't we? Oops. That was that whole story, wasn't it?
Wait, did you hear that just now? I think one of Betty's cats might be nearby.
You don't say, we just saw an assload of cats and you're like, hey, this Pacific cat now, is it? Ugh. Found a cat. Well, at least that kinda means that we do have a bit of a, you know, inside look on things. It's actually one of the mandatory topics that you get taught in school. To an absurdly high degree, considering just how little we actually learn of history. History is not a focus of our education. Some fact, something I personally have always found to be somewhat annoying. Not a good way to prevent the past from happening. Then there's that one particular area that just gets an ass-load of attention. To be fair, for good reasoning in this particular case, but you know.
The factory's off limits. Drakes have been spotted in... Huh?
Yeah. No problem, no problem.
Don't tell me you're here to... In that case, be my guest.
You have a fucking gun. Use it, my friend. Actually, I'm relatively sure that is an automatic gun. Make use of that. Yeah, I'm kinda trying to, you know, not judge too harshly. Mostly because it's basically the same feeling I get when Americans talk about European politics. It's like, you have some serious lackluster understanding of what Europeans, well, are in general, and more specifically the single nations that you're talking about. And so on the other side of the argument, I also try to not, you know, talk in too broad strokes about American politics, because I'm pretty damn sure I lack some well-defined understanding of the finer points. I mean, it's just what happens normally. We can't really help that. You could now sit down and, you know, take an intensive course for a few weeks and get yourself really acquainted with the history and how the whole politics came about. Yeah, you could, potentially.
That's that.
Yes, if you just scroll flames. Yeah, yes, the Nationalist Socialist Workers' Party, wasn't it? Indeed. Sounds like a nice place, isn't it? It's nationalistic, it's socialistic, it's for the workers. Sounds like heaven. Apart from when you remember that it's, you know,
That's
full of fucking fascists. That's one of the areas where quite often you will find people have very interesting ideas. I mean, fascism is not the only thing. Yeah. I mean, technically the Nazis did kind of dislike Mussolini's fascism quite a bit because it had a few very distinct features that they did not agree with, which is why they originally started to distinguish themselves with the whole National Socialistic thing, which is different, somewhat. Mostly because they tried to have a very different perspective on the whole state control thing. Not really a bad idea. From their perspective, that is. Let's just be very happy that we are not actually born in that time, because that sounds like a pain in the ass time to be alive. Put it very mildly.
You're good at this.
Told you so.
Honestly, in general, I think more reading would probably help with many problems, and not just reading the books up front, but actually, you know, read a book, set it down, think about the context, think about what the book is actually trying to tell you, and then use your own little grey mass in your head to form your own opinions. And then maybe after you've done that and maybe talked about it a bit, why not, you know, read it again? Doesn't even matter if it's some badly written right-wing nonsense book. You can potentially get some nice insights out of it if you're actually willing to think about what it's written there, not just accept it at face value. It's not a fucking, you know, novel. You're not supposed to just read the story and be like, wow, that was a nice story. In many, many cases, books actually are supposed to make you think about things. It's a good sense of actually making any sort of use full. Oh.
Let's end this quick.
Not a problem.
Make any use of your time reading. Well, apart from when you're reading a novel, in that case, just take the story at face value. If you start doubting every bloody aspect of it, you're just gonna ruin the story for you. No. I was trying to avoid that. Tifa, could you... Apparently Tifa is rather busy doing a lot of things. Who is the one that tells me... Apparently not that one.
That was that.
No surprises there.
That's a very good way of going at it. Because of course we all want to start with some form of bias. That's not really something you can help, honestly. Trying to work on that particular front is a good start. Of course, then you also need to define what is actually, you know, a considerable success in a country. Are we just going to measure it in, you know, it's, what was it, what was it called, GDP or something? Or are we looking at, you know, what does it, how does its social systems work? Do they actually consistently work? Would they work continuously if things stayed the same, if things got worse? What of the history? How does it came to be?
Give 'em hell.
Because of course, just because something worked for one country doesn't mean that you can just take the best out of every country, introduce it into one singular country, your own, and expect that to work. That's, I mean, it's not that easy, to put it mildly.
There are monsters on the plate too, right?
Would be kind of nice though, if it were. It would create unending blessings for everybody, but sadly the world is not that much equal. Universal healthcare. That's actually, isn't that one of the very large debating points between Americans themselves? Honestly, universal healthcare is a good thing, surely. It's also a very pricey thing. I mean, that should be obvious. And some of the arguments that have been made in favor of it have been kind of disproven by actually using the system. What am I doing here? I'm looking for cats, aren't I? I'm pretty sure I'm looking for cats, yes. For motives, like, why am I going to the plaza? To the train station in particular. Right, because I was looking for cats.
All good things come to
I'm pretty sure America could afford it. If there's one thing America has, it is actually a very nice amount of wealth. And the state is obviously getting its quote-unquote fair share of that from its people. Most obviously. In the form of taxation. And as long as, you know, they work anything near as efficient, respectively inefficient as around here, they should get more than enough. So yeah, it's not necessarily a problem. It would probably come with some cuts here and there, because, well, it's a massive project, and just duplication would take, of course, time and energy. But it's most definitively not impossible. If somebody were actually willing to, you know, try and make it. Then again, last time I checked, America was still a democracy, so the people voted in favor. They could potentially get it. Then again, getting so many people to agree on something is, yeah. That's not something you will see every day. Sadly enough, actually. Even if it's in their best interest, people have a bit of a problem to be not contrarian all the time. It's basically like if 10 people say, yes, we will always have at least one who is either secretly thinking, no, 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 or is outright just going like, fuck you, no, I'm just gonna say no to sheer spite. I know people like that. They're always there.
Thinking I might join in one of those wall market games. Make us a fortune.
Yeah, sure. Where are those bloody cats? I could swear somebody was like, I'm sure some of them are there. To be fair though, you can't forget that America is also a really big country. I think actually quite a bit of Europa as a whole would fit into America. And accordingly, you have lots of spaces and lots of people. So of course, if you have more people than houses, that's a problem. And the other side, if you have more houses than people, that's also a problem, because, well, that means that's actually not good for your economy on one end. Of course, you would throw away a lot of food, to be fair, just because you had that many people. Are you one of the cats? I mean, come on, it's just... No. No, I want to give it something to eat. Damn it. Cloud, do you have something in your inventory we can feed it? Can I feed it in a high potion? Probably not. Shit. Okay, game, if you want me to be the little bitch boy and do all of the side quests, sure, no problem. I can get absolutely behind that, but at least allow me some fun along the way.
Didn't she send money back home?
You know, I recently played a bit of the Yakuza games, especially Yakuza 0. That game is so full of lovely little things that are really fun. Anything else you have to say about your kids?
Wherever there's free food. Marlene says she always gives them some snacks when they go to 7th.
Okay, so 7th Heaven is also a point of intent. At the end of the day, democracy is difficult, but it is the best system we have, actually. Allows the most freedom for the people, luckily enough. To be quite fair, I would probably not very much like living in, oh, I don't know, the most democratic country of all, like North Korea. Seems like a bit of a pain. Just saying, we probably are pretty damn blessed. Thank you, the fact that we can sit around and play games actually makes us somewhat absolutely blessed, doesn't it? Sweet. Yeah, to be fair, big companies is, oh boy, they really have a... I think just recently was a bit of a thing about how Amazon actually destroys a lot more of its return stuff than actually now reselling it, which is amazing when you consider it. Imagine living in a world where throwing away literally thousands and millions of dollars is actually going to be cheaper than using it, apparently. From a company's viewpoint, mind you. From the people's viewpoint, it's absolutely amazingly wasteful. That's... Okay, found another cat. Maybe I should actually focus, you know, one quest at a time instead of running around like an idiot. I like running around like an idiot, what can I say? Also, if you add something like, you know, quest markers and stuff like that on the fucking map, and give me a fucking quest tracker too and be done with it, for fuck's sake. No half things, please. That's annoying. Still wonder why the fuck they even included being side quest system in fucking Final Fantasy of all things. Isn't this supposed to be a story-driven RPG?
I see a lot of cats hanging out near the beginner's hall, too. You know the place. It's the one with all the houses around it.
Child, I'm new to the area.
Lots of girls who live here have the potential to become.
Girl's like, you know the place, right? And I'm sitting there like, I moved in like yesterday. Quite literally. Okay, is there any sort of scrapbook, residential area, pillar, abandoned factory? It doesn't really tell me much though. Okay, it has a second. I'm assuming that was up here then? Ah, it was, wasn't it? Okay, I think it's this one.
Got new numbers for monster slaying this month. Check them out.
Come on, game. Do it either completely or don't do it all. If you're not doing it at all, then I probably would have to take this quite a bit differently and actually listen to the people talking. Yeah, let's not do that. I like half listening to people. Makes me a bit confused, but hey, at least it's fun. Yes, quite literally, I'm a slave by the name of Cloud. No, I've got trapped. How did I manage to do this? Like this. Jesus Christ, game. I think after 1,000 repetitions of this, you will feel very, very horrible. So we're doing it. Yeah, that's... Yes, a certain discrepancy there, that's amazing when you think about it. Actually, but it's the same around here. Managers and CEOs getting an amount of just bonuses that is so far up and above the average worker's wage that you can't even put those numbers next to each other without feeling ashamed. Well, literally. And still, people might, you know, bitch a bit about it and be like, well, that's not fair. But we still keep the same sort of thing going and go like, okay, yeah, maybe, potentially, it's still gonna be okay. Maybe it's gonna be, you know, fine in the long run. Just gonna fix itself. It's not going to fix itself.
That's where the watch guy Biggs lives, right?
And still, as long as most of the people that actually working for the big corporations actually getting a, not necessarily fair, but a wage that they can live on, I don't think many people will actually, you know, complain. Might be a bit of a defeatist kind of viewpoint, but as long as their life and living is not in acute danger, most people will actually prefer the status quo.
Hey, what are you doing in there? Come on out.
I see cats. I see cats. Okay. There are more cats here. Have I found the next? Yes, I found the next cat. You can't hide from me, little cat. Why?
This sucks.
Yeah. Can't even pet the kitties. Okay. Why? This game does things in such half and half measures. That's why. If you added a fucking quick travel thing. No, okay, please don't. Yeah, happy now?
They ran away? So, I'm never gonna see them again?
Well, no, they're gonna come back when they're hungry.
Guys! You came back!
Yeah, what are you expecting?
They said that a scary man was chasing them. Thank you.
Finally, we have done a quest. I will...
That went well. Could be you found your calling.
As a cat herder. Wow.
Was alright, I guess.
Think of each job as an opportunity. Not to make money, but to build connections.
It's not what you know, but who.
You remembered.
Right, that's actually... I think that's actually one of my main problems. What I would consider a wage you can live on is, of course, considering living costs around here. If, of course, you know, you take stuff like that, and if fucking bread in there costs you like 4k, and yeah, your wages will probably never be lasting. It's actually... I find this actually really interesting, because it's really difficult to actually keep in mind that you're talking about a whole different system where things are that much different from what you have. That, Jesus fucking Christ. It's not a good state. Then again, this is a really, really difficult internal problem in the Americans, isn't it? There seems to be quite a bit of a disparity between the affordable, the livable, and the survivable states. Put it into 3 easy to define states. And if most of the people are just that small distance away from being homeless, then Jesus Christ. Now, what would be interesting then next would actually be the aspect of how is property actually spread. So how much does the average American actually own in land and houses, in cars and other like, basically in value things.
What's the source of all life? The life stream, right? What's a life stream? Lots of girls who live here.
Then you could potentially start doing things with the, what was it called, the Engel coefficient. Ugh. Once learned about that. Well, no, once had to learn about it, to be very, very fair. And still, interestingly enough, still many people actually do find the idea of living in the good old Americans like a somewhat pleasant dream. Happy?
Set the orb of assess materia to your equipment and use it to gather battle intel.
Okay, I actually need to do that actively then, I'm assuming. No homes. So I'm assuming that renting out places is more a common thing. But that's not that different to us then. Here we also have more people actually living on rent than actually on their own properties. Nice little bit of cherry in my tobacco. Quite pleasant. El Americano, eh? Maybe it's, I do think actually I have a bit of a compilation of, from I think 20 years or so ago, the economic state of the American powerhouse and how it came to be. I think actually I have a book like that in my collection somewhere. Now that I'm talking about this again, I'm kind of wanting to read it a bit. I mean, yeah, that's kind of how it is. When you have the money, buying a property and renting that out is, of course, a nice option of keeping value. It's also going to somewhat generate the money you need to actually keep your property in shape. Not that actually many people won't actually invest that much. And then 50 years later, down the line, they complain about how everything falling to shit. Idiots everywhere. Of course, they completely forget the fact that over the last 50 years they made a very nice cut from all of their little tenants. But, you know, Who would want to, you know, give a nice new patch of color to the fucking front row or something? That's... yeah, who would want that? Job well done. That main quest. That's not helpful, game. Okay, so I can change that around. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think actually the time for buying a nice little house, at least around here, is pretty much over. Even properties, I remember from, when was that, 15 years ago? I actually looked at a property, compared to a big one for our standards, which I guess is not much. Country is a lot smaller than America, so it costs like, with the house on it, 2-story house, was like, what was that? Don't let me lie here. I think like 60 grand, I think. Is that too much debt to income? Of course I would. That's as foolish. Oh yeah, that sounds like a fucking bank. Don't worry, I don't even need to go to the bank anymore, because the bank is going to tell me quite outright that just going off the last numbers of my business, I will not get a cent from them. Not even a nice hello.
Gotta admit, the watch is a lot.
Was thinking I might check.
Yeah, but it sucks.
What's gonna happen to Midgar?
You get denied things that you can reasonably argue you should get. It's so fucking assholeish. Can only repeat myself. The system itself is most definitively not great at fucking all. Okay, there are some more red things. Now, can I use my unbelievable accessibility actually assess you?
Right behind you.
Yeah, I need to generate a bit of action for that, don't I? Okay. How are they building the houses? Shit.
Too bad.
Of course, if not even the bank is willing to talk, then you have an option. I mean, you could maybe try personal connections if you have any, but that's only gonna get you so far. Could you stop doing that? Summon Gorge. When facing a formidable enemy in battle, the Incentive Slump Room can equip summoning, and Gorge is completely filled. Can I? Ow. How do I do this?
It's on now.
I can see where you're coming from. That is indeed true. Got your... Ha! I can summon something. Little cactus.
Duty calls.
Yeah, I'm sure your little cactus is going to be very much impressed with that. New.
Let's do this.
Blah blah blah. When the summon gorge is completely depleted, it will do horrible damage attack. Okay. Then again, the last few times we tried that whole thing with the seizing the means of production, some people, mystifistically speaking, ended up a lot more equal than other people, didn't they? Not to say that I'm not getting the idea, mind you. The idea I can get behind. The execution, though, sadly, doesn't seem to be working that well.
Just like that, okay?
I gotcha.
Sadly. Can't trust humans to do anything right, especially not because humans are greedy. You give them some taste of power and they will want more. And that's the problem. Honestly though, I'm not saying I'm a saint, mind you. I'm pretty much sure that I'm just as corruptible as everybody else for the right price. It's just that I personally consider my price relatively high on the list.
Hey, got an idea. Hear me out. If the guy who took care of the town's rat problem told everybody where he liked to shop, well, What do you say? I'll make it worth your while, of course. Give you some incentive. Talk you up to Weimer and my customers.
Yeah, but it's difficult, honestly. Also, revolutions are usually bloody, and they have a tendency to eat their own children, if the French Revolution is anything to go by. And Act 2 didn't really end well for the common people. Usually every sacrifice will be made by the common people, and not so much by the people farther up the chain. And honestly, I mean, when you look at it, the capitalism without control is as cancerous as, you know, the next best contender. But on the other side, if you completely stifle the company's ability to actually generate money, that too doesn't end well. It's difficult. Honestly, I'm still not convinced either way, actually, and that is probably explains my position rather well. I do think that things should be... I think actually Germany has the right general idea. You need a social form of capitalism where companies are forced to pay quite a lot in dues into the social services so that those systems actually work. Because if you put all of the tax burden on your poor little average wage slave, it's gonna stifle them to an unbelievably high degree. Of course, the times right now are probably among the worst, also because the economic boom that came after the war kinda, you know, died out in the 80s with the beginning of the 90s. So the growth has kinda... it hasn't really stopped, but it stuttered quite a bit. Although we are technically still making a plus now that I think about it. That actually was the last data we had, wasn't it? Thing I it. Yeah, there are many maybes there. Yeah, I don't think most people would actually, or would be rather afraid of returning to the idea of the law of the jungle. Because if only the strongest survive, we kinda end up with a few problems. I mean, the whole reason we started this whole society thing was kinda because we were getting kinda sick of the idea of that. Kinda wanted to have a place for our weak and weary to rest and not get devoured. So the main idea is not bad. Now how to actually make that society into a workable function. I mean, you know, they added 10 tenants basically as a starting point. It's one of the good things religion actually brought about, you know. Simple rules of living together, and well, then a few centuries have passed and you see where we are. Then again, honestly, as far as I've seen when I look around the history of mankind, I don't think we have ever found a really, not, and of course not a perfect solution, but we haven't even found a good solution where everybody can be reasonably happy. There have been tries made in many directions, either through an absolute system where the state controls everything in one way or another. We have tried letting the people rule, but that kinda didn't work out too well either. I mean, democracy tries, but making direct politics with the people is a bit hard, as it turns out, because there are just many people that want their opinion to be heard. And, well, in the end, as most things actually are, everything is a fucking majority rule at the end of the day. You can say that is bad, you can also say that is good. Because if most people agree that something is good, then there's a chance to be good. Somewhat. As I said, then you can start being all philosophical about it and look for the inner workings of humanity, and you will see that it's difficult is probably the best way. Also, who is right and who is wrong? I mean, not to quote a very bloody maxim from the past, but at the end of the day, the victors write the history books. That has always been the case, and as I can imagine, actually, that will always be the case. So, well, if you are truly believing in your ideals, and you're willing to start a revolution, a bloody conflict over it, and you win, then you will absolutely be right. And if you lose, you will be absolutely in the wrong. Other people will judge that for you. It is sickening when you put it in that direct term.
Start thinking it's safer down here?
My husband
Of course, your basic needs should be met, but on the other hand, it should be expected that you do work for them to some degree. Although you have to be fair enough to allow for people that are, for example, incapable of to survive. That's why you need some social security, of course. If, for example, you are involved in a work-related accident, for example. Let's say you are just your basic factory worker and you lose a leg in a factory-related accident. Well, that probably means you will not be able to work. Now, of course, there should be a system that actually makes sure that you don't starve. That's a very much human way of looking at it. Nature would be like, well, screw it, your own fault. Humans try to be a bit nicer, luckily enough. Not that efficient though. Oh, we had it. I kind of need to go over there again. What was there? Some mystical reason. I'm pretty sure I was there already, but I apparently didn't do the quest. Or do I have to go back again? But yes. But do try to not just focus on the pure negatives of the status quo. That's also a very good way to get yourself very depressed actually very fast. I mean, I do think humanity is a good bit tougher than most people make it out to be. I'm pretty sure there will be people left to reflect on our actions. But as I said, as long as you're willing to actually, you know, bear the cross, carry the consequence of your action.
Happy hunting. Reports said the drakes looked like they were nesting.
I'm actually not against that.
Clear them out before they breed.
Make sure you're geared up before you go in.
To be fair, yes, from an European point of view, America is very good at setting fires all over the place, while trying to keep the fires very much well away from their own little lands. It's actually something learned by Dr. Americans are very good at fighting wars all over the place, as long as they're not happening in their own little ways, their own little world. Kinda nasty way of looking at it. And honestly, I don't think the Americans are nearly as bad as some make them out to be. Some Europeans are really... They have a very set way of looking at the Americans as outsiders that involve themselves in our business most of the time and try to profit off it, mind you. And those are such negativities. Honestly, I think the first step we should probably take is to take a step back and stop being so bloody little bitches about it.
If this is what you want.
Because that sort of generalization is not going to work well. If we actually might potentially at some point want to talk. I would much prefer that. Talking with people sounds like a very good way. Basically what they're doing now, just throwing things around, you know, in a talkative way. Where's the little cunt? There he is. Also some very mean people, if memory serves, actually do point out that the Americans are very good at not only, you know, getting rid of the fires in other areas, but also they're very good at starting fires in other areas. Honestly, I don't think it's that easy, but America does kinda do the whole world police thing. Bit of a matter of pride for them, I think, at this point. Mind you, a bit of an open secret there, but most people actually kinda grateful for that. Sounds a bit cowardly, but, you know, I guess in the end more people can actually profit of that than actually lose from it, which probably explains why people are so okay with it. That much is true. It might take, you know, a decade, a century or something, but if things are actually wrong, and they stay wrong for a long time, people will rise up. Yeah, sadly enough, things need to be
piece of cake.
Really bad for that to become efficient and working. Or you need to rile the people up, that too is an option. If you are a charismatic person, a good leader, you can make the people see. Potentially, that is. Of course, I'm the kind of person who would then point out immediately, if you're actually willing to manipulate the opinions of people to serve your purpose, and as such you consider your purpose to be just, well, then I will actually judge you for that, and I will stand in and be like, yes, that is your purpose, that is your chosen flag to bear. The cross you have, now carry it, and let me see what happens. Indeed, we can actually achieve that position. Position is so powerful that you can quite literally change the fate of the whole world. As one single person. I honestly don't want to be in that position at all. I am quite afraid I would make some horrible misstep and cost humanity far too much. Because that is a responsibility I'm not comfortable bearing. And I think most people actually should take a step back and consider if they are actually up to snuff when it comes to that particular thing. I mean, take the Corona times right now. Usually, or for the most part, I would say most of our politicians are overpaid. Very overpaid people. They have a relatively safe and easy job. But now, in this particular time, when you actually have to make decisions that could potentially impact, negatively mind you, people's life in a very drastic way, you risk quite literally hundreds of businesses, small and medium-sized, to go under, and people, you know, becoming homeless and becoming having need of social security. Yeah, this is actually the time when the politicians are actually getting a fair wage for their job. Not that they're doing a particularly good job, from where I'm standing, but I really wouldn't want to put myself in their shoes. Because at some point, in the future, somebody will point out that this was, well, my little signature under that order that fucked up so many things. Really? What is that? Maybe that's just a sign of getting older that I'm getting more cowardly. Yeah, maybe.
What a relief. I can't wait.
And again, I'm not going to stand in the way of anyone actually fighting for a good cause. And this is also something I would not necessarily do. Guess I'm a bit in the sideline in that way.
I've worked with my fair share over the years, so believe me when I say that I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you're needed over at the Pillar. Apparently another flying bastard stirring up trouble. Bet you can't get enough of this, huh?
Well...
No, I get it. If you're good at something, might as well make it your living. May not know you, but I know a man who's found his calling when I see one. Keep at it. I switch out my stock every so often, so drop by when you're in
True
the
enough.
Huh?
Actually, I think most good leaders didn't really want to be leaders in the first place.
Those disgusting vermin deserved what they solid gold. Ornamental. Rich people have.
Which, to be fair, someone could then interfere from that maybe one of the best qualities a leader can have is actually not wanting to lead. Because if you start with the goal of that, maybe you'll start out a bit too corruptible in one way or another. But as I said, the matter is really complicated. Honestly, we could probably, as an example, we two people could probably sit down and talk for like 20 hours and we would still have material to talk about just with that. So yeah, though, it must be taking quite a bit on you to actually type that many things. Jesus Christ, man. I'm just looking at it, the list is getting longer and longer. You must be a fast typer, aren't ya? Yeah, what's that? Just threw it from the graveyard. Okay, let me take a look at my... my clock tells me that I'm fucked anyway, but that doesn't matter. Tomorrow is the full long day again, but it doesn't matter. We'll still stay on a bit longer and make that last quest a success. Yeah. Honestly though, I must admit I find your points rather interesting. We should at some point actually talk about this in a bit more detail. I think. Yes. If you're so inclined, that is.
Seriously? I'm sorry, but it's outside our...
Ooh, was he about to say it's outside of my expertise or my jurisdiction?
A cerulean drake flew in from the train graveyard.
You know, that is an interesting haircut you have. That seems like you shaved some part of your hair off.
It is you, the new Merc.
That's strange.
Then maybe you can help us out.
Is that a thing? Is that actually a haircut people wear?
Factory over there. But to reach it, you'll need to get a hold of a watch security key. You should be able to find one inside one of the crates.
I mean, we've seen
I forget which.
some guys shaving the sides of their head and then having a bit longer on top or something. I've seen stuff like that, yes, but this particular description I have not seen yet. Maybe potentially, yeah.
Pest control is not our responsibility, so stop asking.
I wasn't asking, bitch. What did you say I should
do?
To
reach the Drake, you'll need to get past a locked door in the factory.
Okay, in the factory, you say. I guess I need to go to the abandoned factory then. Okay, why are you standing before the... Oh yeah, you're not standing before the gate, you're actually just talking to the people there, aren't you?
If it ain't the Merc himself.
Residents nearby.
Doctor wish those times hadn't come in their life. Yeah, obviously. I'd much rather live a comfortable life than living a dangerous edge. Actually, since I was the one who actually had to write out my grandfather's memoirs, let's just say, as somebody who has to intently read the life story of somebody who has lived through dark times, I can tell you what, people going through the times though, they get tough as fucking good leather. I mean, seriously, you know, you don't go through 2 world wars and then, you know what they then did? They just, you know, basically spit in their hands and was like, okay, what can I do now that I have some freedom? Takes a fucking tough one. But yeah, I can see you two have a bit of a tendency to ramble rather freely about whatever crosses your mind. I like that. I like that a lot in people, actually. I find that a lot better than the more
You're dead.
sudden kind. Like, hang in there, I'm not that much damaged. Oh, you're getting eaten. That explains it. Let me help you with that. Ouch. I mean, it doesn't really do much damage.
Enough.
Indeed.
Just like that, okay?
I gotcha.
Ah, yeah, bearing the unbearable, wasn't it? I remember that one. Is that the gate I was supposed to be going through? No. Probably not. Can't we just like this? Okay, I think I see the way. I think, potentially, maybe, possibly. I'm getting confused. I'm getting very confused, finding my way. Come on. Okay, I think from here we can actually find a way. Well, in a way, that's... You could say that's how nature actually intends it, in a way.
Nothing to it.
You either take part in battering, or you're gonna get left behind. And left behind usually means it's a rather nasty fate. Actually, have I did the spell with you?
Allow me.
Well, there was also that one guy that kinda theorized that if you would actually take the daily strain away from people and left them with all of the free times, they would actually not necessarily know what to do.
Was never in doubt.
They would talk the talk, but would they walk the walk is actually the question I would be asking. Many people are spouting the greatest sounding things all the time. But when push comes to shove, and actually you need to make a decision, many people are just not getting there. And that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. Because, you know, if everybody would just follow their own ideals, we would have really difficult time getting any sort of content going. You do need some nice and cowardly people here and there. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't stand up. And if you were really forcing people to the edge, they probably would. I just hope that we actually get around the whole rising up part. Mostly because I'm very much fear for the consequences of that. It already took quite a bit of action to establish the somewhat okay-ish system we have. And you see how many trouble that has. Now imagine further if we tried that again from basically zero, just going off, well, we didn't do that bad the last time, so why don't we do better now? Well, I mean, at least that in that particular area we are not that different. Around here you also need to pay another rather hefty amount of money if you wish to get some of the higher education. I mean, the main idea is understandable. Basically, you need basic education. You need reading, writing, basic math to do almost all jobs. So getting that is okay. You can get some further qualifications through most workplaces, or well, basically you can achieve some extra training and get yourself higher qualifications for better positions inside a certain field. And 2 is free. Of course, it takes time, energy, and if you have a full-time job on the side, it's going to be... oh boy.
Let's end this quick.
But if you want the actually degrees, you will have to pay for that a somewhat brutal amount. I don't think this is actually comparatively monetarily wise to what you would pay in the Americans, but I don't think the difference is that high. Although we do have a bit of a nice little
worked up a good sweat
thing going on there, where you can actually get a nice hair way of getting into debt, I guess. What do we have to gain? Well, what would we lose? We would lose a lot of the people actually doing the menial tasks that need to be done in our society. It's actually a problem we have around here. The generation that is growing up now, the generation after me, is full of people with degrees, full of aspiring doctors and other things, which is awesome, but we also have a severe lack, you know, in just... what was that one joke? You can rather find a specialist doctor for any sort of nonsense than just somebody knowing how to use a fucking plunger to unclog your toilet or something. There's basically a joke about that going around here, and it's actually becoming a reality. And there's also the fact that not everybody actually, interestingly enough, has the will or the capacity to actually get through the necessary material to get a degree. I know some people who tried and decided after a while that it was actually not for them, and that was absolutely not getting them anywhere, and well, they stopped doing it. They stopped studying, they instead went out and started working, and are quite happy nowadays. Different people have differing definitions of good. Giving them the option, sure, not bad.
Damn
I would very much like to know where I would get that key, though. Why does this game come with so many things, but not a fucking quest log? That was the word I was looking for. The reward is potentially very high, but that usually also means that the risk involved is very high. There is no low risk, high return gamble in this world. And people who tell you that there is are trying to cheat you out of your money. Oh, we're trying that, believe you me. Actually, the training to become... yeah, let's take actually something in ours. When people working with wood, particularly in this one case, that is one case I know, the money you get paid in training, in the first year of training, is actually a lot higher than you get in many other fields, actually. Even in some fields like healthcare, where you would usually expect that the raises would be somewhat nicer. So we are trying to actually get people to do it, but the problem is, children do get, of course, influenced by their parents, and if your parents are telling you that getting a degree is gonna get you a lot further, then many children will actually at least try to do it. Which means we now have a lot of people with high degrees that are not necessarily unsuited for the position of the lower positions, but they really don't want to work those positions now, do they? They might do the management side of things, but the actual, you know, hands-on working. There are many people who would probably enjoy it a lot more to just do that, but are actually forcing themselves to go through the drag of getting a degree just to please themselves, their parents, maybe repay them a bit. Well, good intentions can lead you down very wrong paths, sadly enough, too. Actually, I'm reaching the point where I'm really, really late, so I will kind of have to save here and continue my search for the key tomorrow, I suppose, because... oh boy, I have another nice little, well, at the very least 10 hours and more like 12-hour day in front of me. Quite a few actually, but if it comes with working with your hands, be it either with metal, with wood or something like this, you still want the human touch there. And even if we automate all the mini tasks, you still need people to actually know how the task is done, to stand by and make a final check. Either that or you actually give the machines full control, which is... probably not the best idea. Becoming completely dependent with nobody actually knowing how to do it manually ain't really a good option if you ask me. Because that can in some cases lead to a very uncomfortable decadence. Well, it can. That is the whole point actually. It's all nice to be like, yes, it could be like this, but it could be like that, and it could be like many other things. The sheer fact is though we don't know how it would turn out. It's the same with automation. For years I have heard that everything will be automated. In just a few years it will be over and nobody will have to lift the finger doing the most menial things like picking up the fucking garbage. Lo and behold, we're still doing it. It hasn't changed. Could we potentially use machines for that? Yeah, probably we could actually. But we're not doing it. There's of course a cost side, because we're now automating things, at least in the immediate future, costs you a lot of money. And in that case, the labor itself involved is probably still cheaper. At least for a few years that's going to be the case. But as I said, you know, we're having a very far-reaching debate here. Aren't we? I do like it though. I will admit that much. I would like to continue this, but if I continue this for much longer, I will indeed be very much dead tomorrow, and I couldn't really stand that, honestly. Because tomorrow I have to do some actual teaching. I need to teach some people how to do job. Well, more on a seminar kind of thing, but a bit of a special little thing. I got a bit of an invitation that I accepted. Basically as a business insider, for once. That's interesting. Probably going to be interesting. But it also means that I have to work in a very, very... It's, let's say, a very more taxing way of doing things than I would usually do. You know, have to look somewhat smart in front of the juniors. The budgeting future business men and women. I'm actually looking forward to seeing all of these fresh-faced new recruits. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, can't slack off tomorrow, is the whole point. As such, for the moment, Yeah, I had my fun. Actually, that was a rather stimulating talk. I do love to hear people actually talk freely of their own opinions instead of just repeating what they have heard, because that makes the conversation a much more interesting thing. At least for that one particular thing, I'm very grateful that the internet is a thing, because I can talk to people on the other side of the fucking world without any delay in between and hear all sorts of things. Yes, Kitty, I know it's late and you're hungry. I'm going to feed you now. Just give me a second. Well then, with that, I shall once again fall back into my own practice movements. Yeah, who isn't at this point? If I hear the same points over and over again, it doesn't make them more appealing, nor does it make them true. It just means that many people are good at repeating what they're hearing, which means they have a basic capability of learning. Congratulations. Okay, to be fair, that sounds a bit condescending, but yeah, for the moment, I shall beat you at you. Have a good one and all of that. And thanks for dropping by. Especially, of course, our very little talkative Kronos with a whole stampede going. It really was a stampede of talking points. You honor your name. And you, mon ami, indeed. Thanks for dropping by. It was quite fun. I kind of missed the whole point of looking a bit more into this game, but I can do this another time. I think I value this conversation higher on my list than the sheer game time I just had. Quite a bit, even. And so, I shall be back tomorrow, of course, with more gaming. Because that is what I like to do in my free time. And since you're basically having the opportunity to watch all of my free time, that's actually not even a lie, now that I think about it. Apart from, you know, the more laborious little things you usually do on the weekends, like, you know, cleaning and stuff. That's actually kind of true. I had some streams like this, and I found those to be particularly pleasant for me, at least. And, but, I mean, as long as at least one person has fun, which is in this case me and you, I hope, at least, had some fun with this. Yeah. Also, I would very much say I'm not against a, you know, a repeat match. At a way of speaking. Yeah, we shall most definitively meet again. Oh, if I actually get you going in that direction, that sounds very, very pleasant, actually. I honestly would say that more people should stream more often, so I have more things that I can actually watch, because I'm very much a fan of that. Sadly, if you're going on, yeah, I mean, you're in a different time zone, so when you're going on tonight for you, I'm probably going to be very well asleep, but that doesn't need to be always the case. Let us hope for better tidings, basically. But yeah, if you go live, do have a blast, have some fun, and after all, if you can't have fun with it, what's the point of doing it, isn't it? I mean, sure, you can set yourself grand goals, but I found that you work a lot better if you actually have some fun with what you're doing, instead of, you know, just laboring through day in and day out. With those motivating words, I shall end it here for now, because I can already feel myself starting to ramble again, and that's a good way for me to waste another few hours and then being somewhat dead. Do we have anything else I wanted to say before I'll leave you all be? I don't think so. No. I will, because Lekiti is otherwise going to get very much bitey on my arm, and I don't like that feeling. No, everything else seems to be as is. Once again, I do want to point out that the Druid Life, a very good lifestyle apparently, has graciously tipped a whole €3.50. That is very, very gracious of him. Thank you very much. And yes, everybody else I can't name because you're not easily identifiable. The more lurking kind of people. My kind of people. Do feel appreciated too. Pat yourself on the shoulder and be like, yes, good job, well done. You have managed it once more. And now, with that nice quote of the day. And it's become actually a running phrase. I use it quite often. Now that I think about it. I shall feed the kitty. Bye bye.